Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zombies Love Bacon podcast, episode 4, season 2, coming back to you. No Vince this week. He's been picked up by some agents in shady shades because of some stuff that maybe he said on the podcast, maybe he didn't. It's all a bit of hearsay. But actual truth is he is at the Grand Prix at the moment, so he won't be joining us. But Shelby is still here.
Hi, I'm eating an LCM. It's very good. Do recommend.
And we also managed to find a stray to suck into doing this podcast twice, but we'll get into that in a second. It's Frog.
Hi, welcome. Fuck, it's like I haven't spoken to you guys in ages. It's been a while. It's been a fair few hours.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We've already done this podcast. It didn't work. So we're recording it again.
But like the podcast that we lost was clearly the best podcast.
It was the greatest podcast you have ever heard in your entire life. Man, there was some good shit in there. Could you believe that?
There was like self-help. There was bits of fucking
deep dark
drama.
Secrets.
We found the secret to the meaning of life. It was crazy.
That thing that you told me, Ilati, about what you did last week.
Wow. Yeah.
God,
my. That was nuts. I can't say it again. I can't say it again. Yeah.
Never say it again.
Never. Woof. What an episode. What an episode that just disappeared, basically.
Yeah.
But look, technical difficulties is aside, that is the business, so to speak. It happens. Everyone's had a really bad recording.
We've made many episodes without an incident, so it had to happen.
It's true, and it's a technical thing. Like, it's no control anyone there, and like we've done, like literally, we just hit record. It happens, and everything just sort of happens, and it works. Where this was the first time where I literally looked over and I'm like, well, that's weird. And then everything went, and it was over, and we lost the recording. So, anyway, fun. So, we're probably not going to be. I don't know. It's going to turn into a totally different podcast because that's just the way we roll. The other one's gone forever. I'm sorry. If you wanted to hear it, then you just had to have been here, I guess.
And we're never ever going to repeat what we said.
Nah, not really. It's going to be weird, but that's fine. We're going to soldier on and get it done. I've been on other podcasts before where we've literally... There was one time I was on a podcast. I won't mention anyone that was on it or what the podcast was, but we got to the end of recording the episode and there was like silence for 5 minutes, and then I went, well, that was just shit. And they went, yeah, it was shit. And we just deleted it and cancelled the podcast. And there's technical difficulties, and then there's just difficulties. So I'm glad we're just having the technical kind, because that was really painful for everyone involved. Anywho,
so what? You cancelled everything? Just
that was it.
We never recorded. Fuck you all, hate you all.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
It was gone.
Laters.
Yeah. It was just bad. Like we felt like it was bad. Also. I don't know. We didn't vibe. We didn't gel. There was nothing going right for that episode. And there was things where I would be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'll talk about this. And they go, you've already spoken about that before. I'm like, oh, okay. And then there'd be silence afterwards. I'm like, well, that's really awkward for everyone involved.
Wow. Whenever you repeat yourself here, I just let you go because, you're on your roll.
Yeah, I had to tell everyone, but I'm not that interesting. So I'm going to repeat myself. Also, show me the person who has listened to every single episode of this podcast. Show me that person. Exactly. Well, if you are that person, comment in the comment below and I will give you a shout out on the next episode.
Are
guaranteed.
You going to shout yourself out? Yeah.
I haven't listened to every podcast. I'm here. What? I'm here already. I'm talking the podcast. I don't have to listen to the podcast.
Fair enough.
Also,
I'm sure I've seen everything apart from the last 2. So
I've also gotten to the point where I've been doing so much editing and stuff like that. I listen to it in 3 times speed. So you're all chipmunks to me.
I love that.
Right. Let's all talk really faster. Let's get this video.
Also,
it's really chipmunk it out before he's editing.
There is shit there that when you see other people edit, you go, wow, what the fuck? How do they do that? But now I kind of understand. Like I can see the wavelength now. Particularly since we've put Vince on, and Vince has that sort of deeper kind of voice, right? I can see when he's talking versus like when Shelby's talking just by looking at the wavelength on the edit.
Because it's am I higher pitched?
Yeah, you're higher pitched.
Wow, I never thought I had a higher pitched voice before.
You got to be, you're higher, definitely higher than Vince. Everyone's higher than Vince. So all the low ones are Vince. Easy cut. Just chop him out. I'm joking.
Are you? Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Frog. Frog's got something to say.
I don't know. I was about to start spouting off a random useless audio editing
fact.
But then I was a little fact.
Because of your sick tracks that you've been making.
Secretly record people that are streaming and then turn it into sick tracks that people are submitting for the... People want to submit them to Triple J to get in the hottest 100.
Frog likes to bully people through song. So
musical bullying. No, it was like I used to. I'm a fully qualified audio engineer. Believe it or not, it's not something I whip out often, but it's I know a lot about like doing sound for movies and shit, and like doing sound for like mixing, mastering, and all that kind of shit. It's so fun. So fun.
It's a skill, that's for sure.
It's definitely a skill. There's what was I going to say? That's how I started making my own acapellas, like ripping shit to remix, was because of the fact I did that course. I learned about wavelengths and stuff, and like learned how, like, you know, all you need to get a fairly decent quality acapella. You don't need to actually be in the studio. You just need a backing track and the original audio, like the file. Sorry, like the without the vocals, and you just fucking flip the wavelength, and so that the wavelengths cancel each other out. Then all you're left with is fucking beautiful vocals, and it's great. So
what a nerd!
By beautiful vocals, you mean Ilati saying? What were you saying, Ilati?
Yeah, what can you repeat what you were saying?
I don't remember. Was it? Can we have a nut party?
A knobby's nuts party.
Knob party. I have a knob party.
I'll clip that one, and we'll edit that into a. Can I have a nut party? It's a sequel.
Knobby nuts. They're delicious. Anyway, it's
we can cut it to nuts are delicious. I feel like.
Anyway, what I was going to say before Shelby is absolutely trying to derail this, is that, like, I've got friends and stuff who are musicians. Fuck. Some of the shit they do is magic. Let's be sure. Like, anyway, what I was going to say is that
if you're a good audio engineer, you are a wizard.
What I was going to say is that they do all their audio stuff like that, and then they pay so much money to get it mixed and mastered, because that's the bit they don't know. Like, they can do, like, they can sing and do that. But yeah, that's the hard part for them, is like, because some of it just sounds like absolute shit, and then they get it mastered, and it's like, wow, that's pretty good. So like you said, they're magicians. See, we made it work.
To use the meme I made of you as an example, right? I was like listening to that back on your stream through your audio quality, and like it's slightly different to mine. I'm sitting there hating everything. I'm like, this fucking sucks. This, like, and it was something I whipped up. It was
compressed how many times by the time it got back to your ears?
Yeah, something that I hated. I made in probably about 20 minutes, and even then I was sitting there just like, no, I can't listen to this. This is something. If you do it regularly, like if you do mixing and mastering and like fiddle with audio often, you start to hear things, and he's like, nah, this sounds like garbage, and you can instantly pick when someone doesn't know how to master or doesn't know how to mix things, and like, yeah, I don't know. It's just.
I mean, I hate audio because it just even like even the podcast, like editing and stuff like that, I'm never happy with it. Like, it's just no matter what I do, I'm just never happy with anything that I do. And like, even like I was streaming GTA yesterday, and I had so many different like levels and shit running. I had music, I had my voice, I had other people's voice, I had the game sound going, plus alerts, plus text to speech, all this stuff, and I'm like the entire time I was fiddling with them, and I was never happy. And then when I listened back to my VOD, I was disappointed that I got it so wrong still. I'm like, God damn. It's live though at that point. Like, I can't do anything. Like, I can't just go, let's just record that again, because, you know, it's live.
People pay for like Twitch, like having an external person mix all their levels and shit.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick. I'd fucking love that. I'd love to just like have to do nothing but just perform. And like, people don't understand that, like, streaming, people are like, streaming, so you just play video games and get paid. I'm like, well, A, you don't really get paid. You definitely spend more than you'll ever earn, and B, you have to do everything yourself. So everything, it's like the sound, the camera, lighting, everything. It's one person show, so it's not easy, to say the least. Which is kind of I miss the shit webcam, shit mic. Just turn it on, just see what happens. Who cares if no one shows up? Time.
Are you describing my streams?
I mean, you have streamed while you're not there.
I know. That is true.
I was waiting for some sort of bad thing to happen, like you walking in naked or something, not realizing that your camera's switched on.
No, I've done worse things whilst I've known I'm streaming. Walking naked.
What?
What?
Should we slide the rating of this podcast up higher?
It doesn't go any higher.
not when Frog's around.
Yeah. No, I don't know what happened there. I was just my computer. I turned it off. Windows did an update,
and it booted back up. So it's the same thing as like I just did then when I just restarted my computer, and it took me back into all the programs that I just closed.
Yeah. It not only did it open up my stream because I think my game crashed or my computer crashed, so I just like forced quit out of it, and it was like, all right, I'm not fucking streaming now. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
And
you just appeared again.
It turned everything back on, and then okay, guess I'm streaming again.
I think at some point, like your mum or your girlfriend's mum or someone came into the room. There was dogs. Yeah,
it would have been my girlfriend's mum. I think she came over. That's why I turned it off mainly. It was like she brought over all the dogs, so you would have seen like a giant ass.
There were a lot. It's like a fucking.
There was a friend of mine. I won't say who, but they were streaming, and then they raided someone, but they didn't end their stream, which is a rookie mistake. Because if you raid someone and you continue to stream, if anyone goes to your channel, they go to your stream, right? So he closed the game and everything, and his mic was muted, which is fine, but the audio was still on, and he streamed for another 28 hours of just PC audio. Now, I don't want to suggest anything, but I reckon there was probably some audio in there that maybe shouldn't have played on the interwebs, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Like maybe like
the old fisherman's friend, Prawnhub.
Prawnhub, yes.
I take it that happened between like 10 o'clock to 2 a.m. So everyone kind of knows.
I don't know. I messaged the guy like the next day. I'm like, hey man, you've been live for days. And he's like, what? I'm like,
this is a good little segue too, to another topic. But I've also done that myself, where I've raided someone and not ended my stream. But I've kept the game open, and on a GTA RP, I've gone and found the location that was totally messed immediately after I found it. So shout out to the 7 people who I know the names of that were definitely in my stream, and definitely somehow their characters all figured out where weed location.
Oh, that's crazy!
It's wild. So, you're not the only one to do that. There was someone who was streaming, and I'm like, wow, they're really quiet. They're just sort of, just wandering around the city, whatever. And then after like an hour of just having it open, I hear, oh shit, I'm still streaming. They'd raided someone, and then they were just vibing and just walking around the city or whatever, but not saying anything. And then they just didn't end the stream. But there was people chatting in their chat. So
yeah.
Rookie mistakes. When you raid someone, end your stream.
I'm actually curious, Frog, when it happened to you, did somebody manage to get a hold of you? Because I missed you on Discord and Twitter.
Oh, no one told me. I had to figure it out myself. I was live walking around. Those people, I got more viewers in my stream when I was giving out locations essentially for free. It's like someone must have gone, oh, he's
no. I mean, your most recent time when you went at your computer at all.
Yeah. Sorry.
Did you just show up at your desk and realize it was on, or did you read one of the messages?
No, I saw your messages, and it's like I saw it, right? It was like later in the day or some shit. Like I was like, I think I definitely left my computer for like an hour. Saw the message, like, oh fuck, because I still had people over. So I was like, went back to my computer and turned it off, and then that was it. That was okay. All.
The other thing with that is people might not realize is like the stuff that after you raid and you don't turn off your stream, it goes to your VOD. So, yeah, definitely just make sure you turn off your stream after you raid.
There was a case of a girl who she finished streaming, she raided somebody, she forgot to turn off her stream, and she does like the thing that you immediately do when you get home from work when you're a woman, is she pulls off her top and pulls her bra off in front of her camera, full titties out. And then she ended up, like, the poor girl, like, you could tell it was genuine mistake. Like, she was so distressed about her boobs being leaked. She was banned from Twitch for nudity, but she wasn't aware that she was streaming, so her ban was lifted. And it was she got harassed on the internet pretty badly for it. But yeah, it just goes to the thing of, like, always make sure that you switch off your stream correctly, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I do the opposite, so I like stare directly into the webcam when I'm
while you're taking your bra off.
Yeah, while I'm taking my bra off.
I'm
on that fisherman's website that I was talking
about. Oh god.
Yeah, you got to make direct eye contact with any FBI agent staring at you. You know,
it's that dominance. You know.
Good hell.
I don't put tape over my camera. I just assert my dominance.
You'll be fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we lost Vince.
He asserted too much dominance.
He inserted way too much dominance.
Oh no!
The agents came and got him. But
well, since we're talking about conspiracies, because I think him going and being picked up by a van is a conspiracy. I want to roll back to something we did discuss previously, but I think Frog had a lot more to say. We were talking aliens. Aliens and the declassified documents that have come out as saying that people have been picked up and gotten pregnant from aliens and things like that. And one of the things we were talking about is like people's experiences here with like unexplainable phenomena. Frog, I want to hear what the other thing was that you were going to tell us about something weird.
You just want to go into ghost chat, don't you?
I always want to talk about ghosts, but go ahead.
It didn't really like. Anyone that is going on a holiday to Tasmania or lives in Tasmania and hasn't done it before,
they're all aliens. I mean, no, sorry.
I do know a couple that would be classified as aliens. I'm friends with them, and they are very fucking unique people. But Port MacArthur? What is that? The
Port Arthur?
Port Arthur. Why am I saying Port MacArthur?
I don't know why. Yeah, no, it's Port Arthur.
Port Arthur Jail. Go there.
Oh yeah.
Do the ghost tour. Love it.
Actually, I've heard of that as well. I've heard that the ghost is it's haunted.
It's very haunted.
It's very haunted.
It's very haunted. I saw we were just walking, so you go to all the different rooms. You go to there's a hospital. There's the barracks, where the guards slept. All you go through everything, right? And they always tell you just to keep an eye out. You might see something. Ooh, spooky. I saw when we were walking between buildings, there was this big tower, right? And there was other groups, so every now and again it was made creepy because you could see lights in the distance and inside buildings and stuff because there'd be another group and you only got torches. Right? It's no lights on at all. There's only torches. So you see another group off in another building doing whatever, and you're just going, oh, okay, that's just another group. There was a singular, it looked like a different type of light. It looked like a lamp, like a fire lamp inside the tower, and it was a half crumbled, decrepit tower that was used as a watchtower over the main prison area. And I swear to you, there was a fucking small girl up in that tower, and then she sort of walked away from the window. It was the creepiest thing I've ever fucking seen. And then when I pointed it out, the light just sort of wasn't there. And I turned to my mum or my dad or whoever was next to me. I was like, yo, look at that. And then it wasn't there. I was young at the time. I was probably about 14, 15. And it scared the shit out of me at the time. And so it makes me feel like that was 100% a ghost.
I'm going to say it, and once I say it, it's out there, and we have to commit to it. We all live in Melbourne. We are going on a ghost hunt. Let's go do the ghost tour at Pantridge.
Oh, yes. 100%.
Let's go.
Chelsea would be keen for
that too. Let's all four of us will go. We'll do that, and then we'll do it in one night, and then we'll do a podcast recording the next day.
I'll bring my tarot cards so we can.
Don't bring your tarot cards.
Can I bring a Ouija board?
I'll bring some holy water.
What the fuck? Why? What does holy water do to ghosts?
To protect you against the ghosts, because you're a little baby.
Doesn't holy water work on vampires?
Holy water works on a lot of things.
But ghosts?
I mean, if they're evil ghosts, then that's usually because they're demonically possessed, which is then affected by holy water.
Anyway.
A normal ghost is fine. If it's a chill ghost, I want to shake its hand and dap it up, but anyway.
You good?
You want to dap up the ghosts? All right.
Oh my god. Okay. Let me read some stuff. All right, because now that I've willed it into existence, it has to happen. Right, the internet's heard it. Let's so just a couple highlights listed here on the website, because I know the website's fucking gold. All right, you learn about the haunted past of Pentridge Prison, hear about Australia's most notorious criminals and the ghosts that linger, to blah blah blah, with 44 buried bodies on site. And the who's who of Australian criminal underworld having called Pentridge home, it's no wonder why the facility is fully haunted. There's 44 bodies buried on site. I'd like to just inform everybody that doesn't already know that Pentridge Prison has 3/4 been redeveloped into high-rise apartments. They are living with these 44 bodies. There's people paying $1 million for apartments. And they still have the walls and the fucking guard towers up around them. I've been there.
The people that are living in these like high-rise.
I have a friend that lives there.
Okay, well, we might need to get your friend on the podcast, because I wonder if any of them have had any weird experience.
I said to him, do you realize that there's a building that's still like fenced off and everything, and they do ghost tours there? He's like, yeah, I can see it from my balcony.
There's I'm not going to go too much into this story, but because there's I don't know the details, because it was on another podcast I was listening to. They were talking about there's a town in like New South Wales which is basically brought up on like the whole existence is like this orphanage where they would like kill kids. Like the ladies didn't like the certain like the people that ran the orphanage didn't like. This is a true story in Australia.
Yeah.
Didn't like the kids and the children because they didn't like the fact that they were poor and they were like impoverished and all this shit, right? And so what they did was they would like kill them via like, you know, like you hear all these stories of nurses that like kill their patients and shit that in prisons. They would like do that, but to kids. And there's like something like 60 something bodies buried in and around this like hospital, and there's all these, and as a result of that there's like all these other horrific criminals that have come out of that town. It's in New South Wales somewhere and I can't fucking remember, but like I said, I don't know the details too well because it sounds gruesome. Like there's some shit.
So oh god, I'm stumbling into some shit. I've gone down a rabbit hole here. I just want to have a look because there's some reviews. It's I'm just trying to see if anyone just says it was haunted, but this person gave it 5 stars. All right, I'm just going to read this blindly. It says, it wasn't a crappy theatrical thing for starters. It was a proper guide telling us proper stories, and I can't stand that theoretical bullshit that plagues ghost tours. So to see this was proper, it makes me recommend it was highly blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no one says it's haunted though. Anyway, what I wanted to say.
I found some actually.
Hang on.
Go on.
So what I wanted to say is that there's a lot of ghost tours. Right? There's a company called, and we're gonna have to obviously make friends with them, but it's called the Lantern Ghost Tours, right? And they do a lot of haunted places around Victoria, but they also do. So they go from being ghost tours to like sleepovers and investigations.
$200 overnight at Pentridge. Let's go.
Literally, yes. So $200 ultimate Pentridge overnight paranormal investigation. The last man to be executed in Australia and discover Ned Kelly's remains after the ghost tour. You'll be light supper, blah blah blah, with a 3-hour paranormal investigation at sleepover in the original cells. So it's like you go on the ghost tour, then you have something to eat, have some supper, and then you go investigating, which is
sick. I'll bring the tarot cards.
Nah, but
the accommodation is in the original unrenovated cells. There is no shower facilities. Bring a torch, sleeping bag, and very warm clothes, snacks, drinks, no alcohol.
Have you seen those things too? There was one that I did see which looked pretty cool, which was it was one of those zombie tour things. So basically it's in that castle that's out my way. Something castle. There's like it's out in the Yarra Valley somewhere, and basically the premise is that you go in there and you get given like an hour. It's like a giant escape room, but there's like zombies that like.
Oh yeah, I have seen that.
If you get bit, you got to turn into a zombie, and you got to act like one, and you got to like walk around. They look so fun, and there's like it's all about puzzles, and you got to solve puzzles to get out of rooms. Otherwise, they catch you and shit. It's just it looks so insane. Cool, and it's in this like big castle too. This
site also lists they've got like tours around Melbourne, like in the city, haunted areas in the city. City ghost tours. Williamstown out west there's like a mansion and stuff out there. Apparently it's pretty whatever. The thing that gets me is one in Altona Homestead. The thing that gets me right at the top of this, and I'm kind of disappointed, it says our most recommended Melbourne ghost and vampire tours. There's no vampire tour. I want to see what the vampire tour is. What the fuck?
It's like a ghost tour, but like you get bitten.
By what?
This is Greg, the tour guide. For authenticity, he's going to bite you.
I think you just hire out Chip at this point. Just put him in there and just, go bite.
Anyway, a ghost tour, a 1.5 hour ghost tour is like $50. So they're definitely doable. We'll have to do it now. It's going to have to happen.
I know where to get coupons for them.
There's heaps of whatever.
I did see reviews where somebody posted a photo they took on the Pentridge prison tour, and they said it was a really good tour. They captured a very tall, dark shadow going up the stairs. Whether you believe it or not, they are there, the spirits. Excellent experience. Tour guides were both knowledgeable, helpful, and friendly, and gave us all plenty of time to take pics, answer questions, and give some real insight into what it's been like to be a prisoner there. And includes the photo, and there is like a weird shadow going up the stairs. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Great.
Fucking oath. But
why does that manage to catch a fucking photo? Because normally that's like really hard.
Well, I've shown Shelby some episodes, but the Achievement Hunter guys who make gaming plays, they have Achievement Haunter show where they go out and they investigate haunted areas, but they just do it in their style of being little shitheads, and they definitely ran into some scenarios where they just can't quite explain what was going on or what happened. Anyway, they did their Let's Play live tour, which came to Australia. So then when they came to Melbourne, they did Melbourne Jail. And they saw some shit in there that they could not explain, including a shady figure going up the stairs. All the stuff that they caught on camera, you never see anything concrete in any of it. But they legit were like, we just can't explain it either way. And also, and I feel really bad for them because it was 46 degrees when they came to Melbourne, and like they flew in. They flew in, they put all these fucking heavy cargo, bloody technical vests and shit on, and they go through the Melbourne jail, and then they had to do a live show afterwards, and it was so fucking hot. They would die. They were delirious from the heat alone. But I just remember there's a great scene in there where they put on like these bags over their heads, which they used to put over the prisoners to basically, do sensory deprivation sort of stuff on them, right? So they're recreating that, and they're both sitting like next to each other, not touching each other. And then one of them goes to the other, was like, "Just can you stop touching me?" And like they're nowhere near each other. It's like,
I do also recommend the BuzzFeed Unsolved guys, Ryan Bagara and Shade Madej. They did a really good long series with BuzzFeed Unsolved where they did actual investigations and just like discussions of scary stuff and like hauntings and also about true crime. But now they're actually, since they left BuzzFeed, they've got their own channel called The Watcher, and that's about to premiere soon with more ghost hunting investigations, which I'm super excited about. They do some really good content that is also just like slightly unexplainable shit happens.
Well, going a step backwards, right? Back to the reason we're even talking about this, the unclassified UFO documents, basically.
Aliens!
The what? Aliens, yeah, exactly.
It sounded like you said ants.
Yeah, I thought where? Ants, alien ants. Is this a thing? Anyway,
aliens. Yeah,
there's 1,500 pages of unclassified alien encounters, essentially, and it's very casually being presented to us, which makes me wonder that what's the weird stuff. But I want to read through. Everything gets a classification, and the fact that there's classifications to all this thing means that there's incidents related to said classification, obviously, right? So I'm going to read these out for you. So there's an MA rating, which describes the behavior of a UFO. It is an analogous to a nocturnal light, daylight disk, a radar visual, So it's like a natural looking light. that may appear, right? So then there's MA123. So MA1 is a UFO has been observed which travels in a discontinuous trajectory, i.e. vertical drops, maneuvers, or loops. Which is we talked about this on the now deleted podcast. It disappeared, but that's how I would describe what my experience was. I saw a light that was just moving weird. Yeah. So that's an MA1. MA2 is an MA1 plus any physical effects caused by the UFO. So that's like a crop circle sort of scenario. So like they've left a mark essentially.
Does that also include things like people getting headaches and stuff?
No. We'll get to all that. So this is MA3 is an MA1 plus any entities observed on board. So that's like they waved it at you from the window as they went past in their airship. It says here, i.e. the airship cases of the late 19th century. The fuck does that mean? Was there a drive-by from some aliens? Fucking hell.
Weird.
Anyway, MA4 maneuvers accompanied by a sense of reality transformation by the observer. Again,
does that mean
they make this category because something happened, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't make a category if nothing was going to be in it.
So that's like a light went past and then it turned to daytime. Like stuff changed.
What? That's fucking trippy.
So the MA5 is a maneuver that results in permanent injury or death of a witness.
Oh.
So,
did you ever watch that show growing up where it's that Aussie the Aussie kids, the teenagers
Round
that were like, no, they were like out bush doing like a camping thing, and like majority of it shot through like one of those old camcorders.
Not Blair Witch.
No. Okay, so I keep talking about your other thing. I'll just try to.
Okay, so next up is a FB rating, which is a flyby rating. All right, so an FB1 is a simple sighting of a UFO traveling in a straight line across the sky. So that's probably the most common, yeah? FB2 is an FB1 accompanied by physical evidence. Same thing like crop circles, trees moving, whatever. FB3 is a flyby where entities are observed on board. It's got in brackets rare. Rare doesn't mean never. That means it's happened. A flyby is FB4 is a flyby where the witness experienced a transformation of reality into the object of or the occupants. I'm sorry. Is that? Sorry, something happened there. So anyway, FB5, a flyby which the witness suffered permanent injuries or even death, i.e., what is a Cash Lundrum case? It references cases.
Case? Hold on. Lundrum case?
Cash /LANDU. Sorry, LANDRUM case. Cash /Lundrum case.
That's scary when it's referencing cases,
right? It's anyway.
The Cash Lundrum incident was an alleged unidentified flying object sighting in the United States in 1980, which witnesses claim was responsible for causing health and property damage. A number of investigators, question the details and overall authenticity of the incident. Here is the description of the case.
But that's an FB5. It's literally in this thing. It's saying that there is a category for it, and they're saying that it didn't happen.
In 1980, Betty Cash, Vicky Lundrum, and Vicky's 7-year-old grandson Colby were driving home from Texas after dining out. They later said that about 9 o'clock, while driving on an isolated 2-lane road in dense woods, like what Frog described to us in the Now Forgotten podcast, they saw a light above some trees, which they first thought was an airplane approaching the Houston International Airport, which was 35 miles away. They didn't think much of it. A few minutes later on the winding roads, they saw what they believed was the same light up as before, but though it was now much closer and brighter. They said it became a huge diamond-shaped object that hovered at about treetop level, and the base was expelling flame and emitting heat.
The fuck?
Lundrum told Cash to stop the car, fearing that they would be burned if it got closer. A born-again Christian, she interpreted the object as the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Oh no!
She told Colby, "That's Jesus. He will not hurt us." Cash said she was anxious, considered turning the car around, but abandoned the idea as the road was too narrow. They got out of the car to examine the object. Mistake number 1, you never do that in like any horror movie.
Yeah, right? Yeah, stay in the fucking car. Anyway, continue.
Colby was terrified, so Landrum quickly got back into the car to comfort him. Cash remained outside, mesmerized by the bizarre sight. The object was intensely bright, dull metallic silver, and shaped like a huge upright diamond, about the size of a Dayton water tower, with its top and bottom cut off. Okay. Small blue lights ringed in the center. Periodically, over the next few minutes, flames shot out the bottom, flaring outward, creating the effect of a large cone. So it's like that's a propulsion system, right?
Right.
Right. Every time the fire dissipated, the UFO floated a few feet downwards.
So it was landing.
Yeah, it was like hovering a little bit.
Yeah.
So the heat was strong enough to make the car painful to the touch because it was too hot. She was burned by the door handle of the car.
The fuck?
The Lundgren claimed her hand pressed into the softened vinyl of the dashboard, leaving an imprint that was evident weeks later. Investigators cited it as proof of their account.
What the fuck?
They said that the object then ascended over the treetops and rose higher into the sky. Then a group of helicopters approached it, surrounded it in a tight formation. They counted 23 helicopters and then identified them as Chinooks, used by military forces worldwide. With the road now clear, Cash drove on, claiming to see glimpses of the object and the helicopters receding into the distance. From first sighting of the object to its departure, they claimed it lasted around 20 minutes. And then there's a section on the health problems they claim afterwards.
And then the next day, Mulder and Scully rocked up and they questioned them. Like, it sounds like an X-Files episode, right?
I'll just finish off here as well. That night, they reportedly all experienced similar symptoms. They claimed they were suffering from nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, generalized weakness, and a burning sensation in their eyes, and it feeling as though they were all suffering from sunburn, which also, by the way, radiation, light radiation poisoning can cause like a sunburn on your skin.
Yeah, that's true.
Cash said her symptoms worsened and she had many large painful blisters forming on her skin. She had to go to the hospital. She could not walk. Lost large patches of her skin and clumps of her hair. She was released after 12 days in the hospital. And then she later returned to the hospital for another 15 days.
What the fuck?
So they said it was a radioactive UFO.
That's fucking mental.
Cash later developed breast cancer.
Oh my God.
And severe cataracts.
Oh my
God. A
God.
radiologist who examined the witness's medical records wrote, "We have strong evidence that these patients have suffered secondary damage to ionizing radiation." So I was right. It is possible that there was an infrared component as well. However, Brad Sparks contends that although the symptoms were somewhat similar to those caused by ionizing radiation, the rapid onset was only consistent with a massive dose that should have meant death in a few days.
How is this not bigger news? Like, seriously. Like, this is my point. This is my exact point for bringing up this article, right? This is a reference on a fucking article that I read on news.com.au, right? Between the fucking "Is your partner happy in bed" article and Will Smith slaps some dickhead. It's like, this is big news. Like, they just talk about it casually. Like, what? I mean, I understand it was the 80s, yeah? So they didn't pull out their phone and go live on TikTok. But it's like, that's nuts, right? That's yeah. And it's just casually referenced here, and everyone's just like, oh, whatever, it's funny. There's more, by the way. Like, I have more. So, going back to the ratings, there's nothing else referenced, so we should be safe. So no more horror stories are going to keep you up at night. But so this is a CE rating, which is a close encounter rating, similar to the... Oh, God, hang on. There is a reference there. I'm not going to read that.
They dap it up.
This is a HYNEK, HYNEK, close encounter ratings. So a CE1 is a UFO comes within 500 feet of the witness, but no after effects are suffered by the witness or surrounding area. So that's a CE1, close encounter. CE2, a CE1, but leaves landing traces or injuries to the witness. Oof, okay, CE3, entities have been observed on the UFO. So that's they did a drive-by, basically. They pulled up and said, hey, and then left. CE4, the witness has been abducted.
Do we have an example of that?
No.
Lady in the cars is standing there screaming, getting probed for
Where's the CE5? CE5 is a CE4 which results in permanent psychological injuries or death.
Is CE6 when they get pregnant?
Well, CE5 is a pregnancy. It's the pregnancy referenced in this article.
Would you rather get probed and left by an alien, or would you rather get, like, not feel a thing but get impregnated by an alien?
All right, serious question. All right, and but just based on the information that we now have, because our world has been opened up here, aliens or ghosts? Which would you like an encounter with? You have to pick one.
Aliens.
Ghost.
Aliens. Aliens.
I think aliens bring a higher chance of death.
I think ghosts bring a higher chance of death.
Nah,
Ghosts are death. They are
Literally death, right?
but like they already died. They're not going to bring you more death. Like they don't want to make.
Why wouldn't they do that? That's exactly what they'll do. They're fucked. They're done. What else have they got to lose? They're already dead.
I have another story. By the way,
oh God, about aliens or ghosts?
Aliens. It's happened.
Ghost aliens. Fuck me.
It happened around the same time as the incident I just talked about, but it just, in short, 1979, a deputy sheriff who was found with temporary retinal injuries and damage to his patrol car because he encountered a brightly lit flying object.
I think I've heard that one.
The Val Johnson incident.
Wasn't he by himself completely?
He was completely by himself.
Yeah. I have actually read that one.
A beam sped towards him. His squad car was engulfed in light and he heard glass breaking. He was unconscious for 39 minutes. When he awoke, he realized his wristwatch from the vehicle's clock had stopped for 14 minutes.
Yep.
The windshield was shattered, a headlight and red emergency light was damaged, and a thin radio aerial bent. Deputies responded to his call for help and found the squad car sideways on the road. He suffered bruises and eye irritation that a physician compared to welder's burns.
So there was a theory with that. I don't know if they could explain it there, but they think that he was abducted and returned. So the fact with the watch, which you kind of glossed over, that they think that there's time missing from when he was originally saw the light to when he returned to his car.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah, there was a TV show that was a similar sort of thing, which was it followed. I think it was even like a Spielberg produced one. Fuck, I'm not going to know. I'm going to butcher whatever I say. But anyway, it was a very slow show. It basically followed the story of these kids that got abducted and then returned without any knowledge of it, and then like they just start to have weird sort of experiences later in life.
Was it in the bush?
Nah, it was an American suburbs.
Because I googled it and I found it. It's called Jeopardy.
I've never ever heard of it.
8 kids from Falkirk go to find UFOs in an area of Australia already noted for alien contacts. And then it's probably not going to watch it, so I'll spoil just a little tiny bit.
Go on.
But they just basically, one by one, they all get taken but then returned, or like they go permanently missing, and then they end up finding them at this like facility. Like it's literally just like it's the most bogan Aussie, like it looks like an Aussie resort. Like they just find them in this resort. It's like, oh, hey guys, except they've now all got like one eye that's red, and no one mentions it, no one says anything, and like there's like I just remember watching it as a kid because it was on like ABC and shit, like growing up.
Yeah,
it was one of those shows that you'd come home from school and see, and it was fucking. It was just remember tripping me out as a kid. It was because they see and they record all these. It's filmed very similar to Paranormal Activity, so a lot of it's done through like TV, like through camcorders and stuff, and it's creepy. It's very creepy.
The show that I was thinking of is Taken, and it was it's the breakout role for Dakota Fanning. Who plays the main character. It's a miniseries by Spielberg, and it follows the lifetime of a few people that got taken. And I remember watching it, thinking it was quite good, and it looks like it won a few awards and stuff like that. So it's very highly rated. So maybe if you're into some Taken things, I always remember I enjoyed Taken. I thought that was quite good. But I think in terms of alien shows, I grew up. My mum made me watch, and it was definitely my mum's fault. And there's a story behind it. V. Have you ever seen the TV show V? Not the most recent one. There was an older one as well. Basically, it's about these aliens that come to Earth, make friends with everyone. Everyone has this real diplomatic sort of thing where we all kind of agree to live in harmony and stuff like that. And then people start to get wise about some things that seem a little bit sus about it. Spoiler for a show. Well, I mean, they did a remake, which was it was okay. Anyway, the twist, if you like, is that they're actually here to steal our water because all their natural resources are gone. And they're just they're replacing people and getting into our politics and stuff like that, so they can basically steal it, whatever else. But then in the process, and this is where the movie the miniseries or whatever sort of takes a kind of a twist, is they're actually lizard people that have human skin over them, so they can shed their skin and they're lizard people. And then one of the lizard people, one of the junior officers of their whatever thing is, falls in love with a human, and then the science division are let's see what happens if they make a baby. And then one of the humans has a baby, And this always sticks in my mind because my mother made me watch the show because she's like, yeah, this show, I remember it really well because I was pregnant with you at the time, and then I watched this woman have a lizard baby, and I had concerns. Because in the show, she it's all built up, and we're like, oh god, she's gonna have a lizard baby, and then she has a normal baby, and then a lizard baby, and it's like, oh no. But it was an interesting take on the whole thing. I forget how it ends. I think we find some poison that kills them, and then they're dead. Usual alien stuff. They get lazy riders at the end.
Yeah.
But it sounds like all they have to do is read these declassified things, and you can do an entire season of X-Files with no worries at all.
Yeah, it seems that way. It seems that way. It's great. We won't sleep anytime soon. Shelby's very quiet, which means she's probably reading more shit.
I found something kind of wild.
Told you.
just a quick one. 62 children in Zimbabwe had the same story of what happened while they were at school, as that one or more silver aircraft descended from the sky and landed on a field near their school. One of the creatures, dressed in all black, approached the children and telepathically communicated to them a message with an environmental theme, and then they left.
What?
62 kids all confirm this.
What's the message?
An environmental
to save the planet,
Man, bear, pig.
Yeah, man, bear, pig.
Man, bear, pig.
Skeptics have described the incident as one of mass hysteria, but 62 kids is kind of hard to.
Also,
say.
kids, they're not very good at lying.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very. They don't make this shit up, and that's
one fifth grader tells how he was warned that's about something that was going to happen, and that pollution mustn't be. An 11-year-old girl told Mac, "I think they want people to know that we're actually making harm on this world, and we mustn't get too technology." She doesn't know what she said then, but one child said that he was told that the world would end because they are not taking care of the planet.
Well, it does seem that way.
I mean, yeah.
I mean. They're right, and this was in 1994.
And Australia's leading the charge.
In 1994, discussions about climate change were nothing. I don't think these kids would be lying about this.
1994?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shit. I thought it was more recent.
The only thing we're worried about in 1994 was the hole in the ozone layer, which is fixing itself, and it's still fucked, so who knows?
This is 1994 in Zimbabwe. Anyway,
yeah, no, that's definitely something is there, because man, that was okay. That's fucked.
Anyway, I'll stop looking now because I think I'm scaring Ilati a little bit.
No, it's not that. The thing is, it's the unexplained. Yeah. And what annoys me, what frustrates me, is that they drop shit there's here's all this evidence about all this stuff that we tell you isn't true. And then they just go, by the way, we'll slap someone. It's like, well, hang on, what's important in this fucking world? Should we not take a little bit of interest in these weird and wonderful things that are happening? It's just priorities. And I've gone back the other way now, and I'm thinking about ghosts again. And it's just I have a story in front of me on my screen. I'll read it, right? It's from a mother who submitted an article in and submitted a question in, right, a story. It says here, when my daughter was 3 years old, she started telling us that she was being woken up in the night by a man who kept tickling her feet. But she said it didn't scare her because he was always smiling. We figured she was just dreaming until we came across an old photo of my grandparents on their wedding day, and my daughter pointed at my grandfather and said, "That's him. That's the man who tickles my feet. My grandfather passed away when I was 6. So
that's something else.
This is on a page that says 177 reasons why children can see ghosts.
Well, kids are kind of wild. I like these stories where kids have these, conversations with their parents out of nowhere, where they seem to imply that they have been reincarnated. And you hear these stories where kids are just like, "Oh, I was really old when I died," and then the parents are just like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And they're like, "Yeah, I used to be a girl. What the fuck?" They just. And some of them are really detailed, and they'll just pull out all these details and this information, and then the parents cross-check this information their 3-year-old has told them, and it's it's like real information about this location that this kid has mentioned. And like those are kind of wild about,
speaking of a 3-year-old, we live in a home, it says here, we live in a home in which a 103-year-old man died, and my 3-year-old daughter is constantly talking into the mirrors around the house. When I asked who she is talking to, she always answers, the neighbors.
All right then.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've become the Ghost and Alien podcast.
I'm cool with that. I mean, there are a lot of podcasts.
I actually, like, I feel itchy, you know? Does anyone else feel itchy? I feel itchy. It's itchy?
I do.
Oh, that's someone else itching you. That's.
Like, at least I know that the land that we are living on right now, ourselves here, it used to be a mine, like a steel mill. Like there was just machines and stuff here. It's not like an orphanage or anything that sort of, you know, is stereotypically scary as fuck.
I have another one of those would you rathers. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Would you rather get probed by an alien or possessed by a ghost?
I'll take a probing. Sounds fun.
Possessed.
It sounds like a good time.
Well, yeah, I suppose we don't really know what an alien probe is like. So it could be bad. Anyway. God damn. Oh man, I gotta stop reading these articles. This one here says, we had just moved into a new duplex when my 3-year-old daughter out of nowhere said, there's a bad man. And when I asked where, she pointed at the attic door and said, he's up there.
No shit.
Okay, I
would not be going off that.
I have one of these reincarnation stories. So this girl was walking by with her 3-year-old daughter out in a park, and the 3-year-old daughter pointed at a blackbird by its specific name. And she goes, I saw one of those with my granddaughter Jenny. Not in this life. It was a past life. This kid is 3.
No, none of that. Thank you. No, thanks.
And another one says her son once told her how lucky he was that he got to choose her as his mum. When she asked him to elaborate, he explained that he was walking through the forest with his other mum when they saw a cabin that she was inside. In that moment, he decided he wanted her to be his mum this time around. So he's like selecting his future parents in the reincarnation.
That's kind of cool.
I got one more.
Cool. Okay.
This woman's son used to mention another family, so she asked him to tell her more. She says that he had so much detail that it was hard not to believe him. He explained that in the 1940s, he lived in a cabin in the woods in New York, where he was a firefighter and had a dog named Pinky. The really crazy part is that he says that she was his kid's babysitter in his past life.
So, anyway, look, I'm sufficiently creeped out by this entire conversation, and I personally feel like there's a fuck ton of shit that we just don't understand and don't know, and that's fine. What I don't understand is why shit like this comes up and everyone's just cool about it, you know? Like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me to think that the shit that gets made public like that, and it's not a bigger story, or, you know, it's whatever. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the boomer in me coming out, but like, I feel like once upon a time, if something like that came out, there'd be like a special episode of 60 Minutes or something like that. But like, no one watches TV anymore, so who gives a shit? But like, it's like, I'm just gonna say, we spent way too much time, and there's people still talking about Will Smith slapping some dickhead, right? That's nothing. That's bullshit. It's like that's the least important thing that's happened in so long. The shit that happens in the world constantly is just so much more interesting and more. I suppose it's probably just more lazy reporting. It's probably the more accurate way to do it. Like, people will just go for whatever gets the high clicks and shit like that, rather than talk about the shit that's actually interesting. But yeah, anyway, if I just wanted to speak. There's a few things that we talked about on the last podcast we didn't get to talk about in this one. When I say last podcast, the one that failed to record, which is a totally different podcast, and that's totally fine. But what I wanted to say, that was something we did mention on the other one that I still want to recommend, is that if you are at all interested in any of this sort of alien stuff that we are talking about, that the movie Arrival is a spectacular movie. Very comprehensive, and probably, in my opinion, one of the better sort of sci-fi, in the sense that, like, that's probably more how it would go in a real world. Not like, if you ever watch, I think it was Battle for LA, which is like the most terrible alien movie.
That is the worst.
That was a bad one.
Fucking blew my mind how horrible that was.
there is definitely alien shows and stuff like that you can go, I could see that happening. And like, as much as people point out it's satire, I actually believe that it would probably go that way in a lot of ways. It's like Starship Troopers is a great example of how we would go to war with the aliens in such a dumb way. Like, if you ever watch Starship Troopers, it's like, it is satire, but it's very much like, we'll just send men with guns into space and we'll win for sure. And then we just get absolutely rolled constantly by aliens that we don't understand. And that's basically the point of the movie, is that we can constantly getting rolled by aliens and people standing around and like with heaps of badges and medals on their chests going, I don't understand how that plan didn't work. It's like, yeah, that's like, as much as it's, you know, comedy in a way, it's very close to how I imagine it goes. But yeah, Arrival's a great movie to watch if you're interested in sort of alien stuff like that, and it's a great way to get down into that rabbit hole, so to speak.
Fun little fact for my audio course, little throwback to that. I had to edit and got given 3 blank scenes from Starship Troopers where I had to fucking edit like every single element of the sound. I was not allowed to use any files that I've been given. I had to go out and record all the Foley myself. And
awesome.
It was so fun. It was so fun.
That's making, like, there's so many noises in that too. Like, it's so much.
Some people are doing it like parodies of shit, like making the footsteps sound really comical and shit like that. And like, I think for my set, like the bug creature things, like the aliens, I made like put like jelly in a bag, put a mic, 2 mics either side of it, and fucking just popped it slowly and made like a squelching. Really good.
That for the movie that it is, and I mean, it's a bit of a cult classic. It's really well made. Like,
yeah,
the sound and graphics and CGI and everything in it, it's really well made. Like, yeah, and it holds up. It's probably more importantly, it like, you know how some movies you remember going, wow, I remember that being really cool, and then you look at it back and go, holy shit, what is going on here? Why is the CGI so bad? They did a brilliant job on Starship Troopers. This is a good movie. Shelby hasn't seen it yet, so I can't wait to show her.
I've never seen the full thing.
You've never seen the whole? Oh wow, we should do a Discord watch of it then.
I've never seen the full scene. I've just seen the scenes. It's one of those things for me though. It's like if you listen or do something repetitively, like if I'm editing a video or editing audio or something, and I listen to or see the same thing over and over again, kind of get sick of it. So I never. Like, people went out and watched the movie after we did the course, right? But
yeah, it's a good movie.
I was sitting there staring at those 3 scenes for like months.
I've probably watched that movie 50 times, I reckon. It's like it's very rewatchable for me. And they made a Starship Troopers 2. They couldn't get the main actors, and it was a terribly low budget. So it was literally filmed and done in like a single room, which is obviously on a soundstage somewhere. And when they had any outside screens, they were at night, and it was always a fog, so you couldn't see anything. That's how low budget it was. But the story was actually quite good for Starship Troopers 2. And then number 3, they had a bigger budget, bigger CGI, so they had a heap of action. They brought back some characters and stuff, but the story was trash. So it was like, fuck, if they had to just put the budget on the second one, it probably would have been a good cult classic. And then they did a CGI movie after that, where they had they had brought back all the characters and they voiced them or got impersonators or whatever. On top of that, and then I think they did another CGI, like a spin-off. But the really wild thing to me is they had a game when the movie came out, but they actually had another game that was scheduled to come out last month that just got delayed. It's coming out in like 3 months' time, I think. So they're still making Starship Troopers related content. It's a real-time strategy game apparently. So
interesting.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to it. I put it on my calendar and everything. It's Starship Troopers. Shelby's going to watch it. Aren't you, Shelby?
Yeah.
Stop reading articles.
No, I'm not reading articles. I'm going to watch that the musical called Starship, which is on YouTube.
Oh.
It's like a half a parody of Starship Troopers. Definitely recommend.
I definitely don't recommend.
I recommend.
Shelby's like, I don't need to watch Starship Troopers. Watch this instead. And she showed me that, and then I was like, but Starship Troopers.
But Starship is so good.
But you need to watch Starship Troopers.
No.
Yes.
Why do I need to?
Because it's good.
You keep making me watch so many things. It's gonna start pushing things out of my head that I need to remember.
Look. There's the list of stuff that I want Shelby to sit down and watch. Like we're getting very close to a Clockwork Orange sort of scenario happening here. So,
being
you've definitely seen that, right, Shelby?
No, being in a relationship with you is just consuming 10 times more media than I usually.
Yeah, it's kind of scary how much media I consume.
It is scary. It's worrying. But
it's not. It's like, what else am I going to do? I'm not going to just stare at nothing. I don't want to stare at the wall.
You could read.
Why? When I can absorb the knowledge quicker through other media. I'm not a fast reader.
What's your Twitch redeem?
Yeah, that's it. It's elected to lead, not to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's but I mean, I read articles and shit like crazy though.
I just remembered. I've seen the best fucking Simpsons meme. You keep talking, so I'm fine. I just saw them. Just trying to.
But it's there's. I don't know. There's definitely the thing is right. From this is just from my perspective. There's shit that I've seen that has influenced my everything. You know, like my character is a living, breathing meme, and it is influenced by things like The Simpsons. But like I said, I've watched so much Starship Troopers that there's shit that I say every day that is from Starship Troopers because I grew up with that shit molding my mind. So when I say, hey, I want you to watch something that molded my mind, I think it's probably worth watching, you know? Don't you think? Maybe? Shelby? Maybe? No?
Maybe.
No?
Maybe.
I'm getting nothing here, guys. I'm getting absolutely nothing.
What do you mean? Anyway.
So you should just quickly watch that meme. It's if you haven't seen it already, there's a really good video where a lady who's I think she's a journalist. She approached our PM and was just like,
"Oh, I love her."
Said a thing. Said a really good thing.
Watch this, Lee. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half.
It's you can spot the second your heart rips in half.
Yeah. And she goes, congratulations, Mr. Prime Minister, on being the worst Prime Minister or some shit.
And he's like, oh, congratulations is all we heard. And then he's like, wait. That's like there's that Facebook group which is like Simpsons against liberals or something like that. And it just does Simpsons. But the thing is, like, I don't often get very political. Like, I just make up my mind and that's it. I don't really go out sharing shit and stuff like that. But the work that those guys do, like, it's fucking, they hit the nail on the head every time with just a spot on meme. And you just go, how are you that clever and that quick? Like, they'll make a line and then 20 minutes later there'll be a thing pop up and you go, ha, I get this. This is good. And it's like, how do they do it? But yeah, I don't know. It's the thing is the
Labour Party's actual they're like, they got approached by Joe Biden's think tank when he was like, you know, running for election, asking how exactly was your how did you win this? Like how are your people winning seats in like all these marginal areas, like which were never, like, there was never a chance for you. How are they winning this? And then then they started asking. There's like all the meme pages, like liberals against Simpsons liberals, and there was there's this other one that was done by Friendly Geordies, and it was like all these pages which have all these people that post anti-liberal memes got like so much traction that Joe Biden's, the president of the United States, approaching them asking how did they gain such natural traction.
Yeah, I mean,
people are bored in Australia. We're just a bunch of memers.
I mean, yes, absolutely, but I think you hit the nail on the head. It's not hard when we have the worst prime minister of all time.
Oh, it's so easy.
He shoots himself in the foot daily. I mean,
means at himself.
And I could see that we're running out of time here, but it's like I saw an article today that was I don't even give a shit what publication, what's some bullshit publication, and they're like talking about Albanese, who is our opposition leader, and they're like, look at him, he's completely transformed. He's obviously a puppet. And I just felt like saying, the man's got himself in shape because he knows he's the next prime minister. It's like it's not.
He's also having one of those, you know, post breakup glow ups too. It's not just like
he's looking good. He looks young. He looks
so young. His wife like left him.
Yeah.
For I don't know this story, but
I don't know. He just. But everyone's giving him shit for it. I'm like, the man's getting himself together. Like,
there's
a good thing.
They're grasping at straws when it's like the only thing that you can insult a person on is the fact that they've lost weight.
Yeah. It's they
like,
can't be like, look at this guy, he's a hot mess. They're like, look at this guy. Look how much he's improved. It's obviously fake. It's like,
so stupid.
How dare this man improve his life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's mainstream media for you. You should definitely listen to the podcast and get all your news from podcasts. Right? Yeah. Definitely. Anyway, we should wrap this up because we've done this twice today, and I think Shelby's lost it completely.
I'm down too many rabbit holes. I need out.
So yeah, she's definitely reading shit, and so we should wrap things up here. Thanks for listening this week, and make sure you do subscribe, comment, leave comments and stuff. Particularly if you got like ghost stuff or alien stuff, we will deep dive into that. Even if you give like Shelby something to look up, she can go off and we start an alien podcast. I'm sure no one's done that before.
Be me reading stories, scaring people, and threatening people with tarot cards.
Sounds like pretty good. But yeah, so make sure you follow us on Twitter, ZLBPodcast. All the latest news and stuff is there. Shelby, do you want to plug your stuff?
Shellbunny.com, and especially at the moment, I'm very active on TikTok at Shellbunny94.
And Frog, do you want to plug your esports team now that you're a professional?
Oh, yeah. Go follow Elemental. They're esports org. We're doing Evo quals, so we actually getting paid to play each week, so it's kind of cool. It's not CL. We didn't quite make that, but we've made it into this. So yeah, we're gonna get some jerseys apparently in the mail soon. So that's kind of cool. But they haven't actually announced this yet, so probably I've probably
go follow them. Go follow them anyway.
And don't tell them that I told you because I haven't announced us yet, and it's probably not going to be announced for another week or so. So
that's right. This podcast comes out next week. We're all good. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And you can find me everywhere. ZombiesLvBacon, streaming pretty much every fucking day these days, and on Twitter making semi-hot takes most days. Mainly just taking it one day at a time. We should have Vinny Boy back next week. Do you reckon Vince would appreciate being called Vinny? Probably not, right?
I don't think
call him
so.
Vinny Poo next time.
Vinny from now on. We've changed Vince's name to Vinny, and he'll be back next week to tell us all about the Grand Prix. On the Forgotten podcast, we did dive into the Grand Prix a bit, but we'll just do it next week with when Vinny's back from his boys' weekend. But if you are listening to this, make sure you give us a like and a follow, and we'll hear you. Well, you'll hear us next week. So have a good one. Good night.